Many thanks for staying with us. Residents of Sabongeri in Niger State are calling on the government to do something immediately to address the filthy condition of the drainage system. The resident says the present conditions of the drains is having a negative effect on their health. Our community report tonight looks at the problem of hygiene in Niger State.
The suburbs in Minna, Niger State, accommodates those who cannot afford to live anywhere else. And the population explosion brings with it negative effects on the community, top of which is filth, just like the one in Sabongeri. The drainage system was constructed for the passage of water, but the community has turned it into a dump for refuse. The health hazard here is as clear as day. But it appears the residents have become immune to the dangers. But some are tired of this way of life and want a change.
Look at the dustbin now. Look the dustbin. Dustbin. Mosquito biting people. People around this beggar, they are not living well.
Malaria catch my family now. I carry my family and go hospital. Government she can help me even paracetamol 20 naira. Now me the so far hoes you get money, spend money. So I had to write to talk.
These out-of-school boys, like 100 others, make a living from the trash here. They say this is the only way to stop them getting involved in crime.
It's better to do this than to go and steal. Sometimes I make 200, sometimes 300 naira, which I gather and use for feeding and buying of clothes. I'm not ashamed. I used to come here to scavenge for scraps using my hands. I take what I scavenge and sell, and then use the money to feed and buy, even if it's a shoe for myself.
The problem is reported to have plagued this community for over 15 years, which leaves the question of what the authorities have done to clean up the environment. The man presently tasked with this exercise talks about how much effort has gone into it.
We intend to go house to house by all this our newspaper staff to educate people on how their house to be clean for them to have a healthy environment. All those are in place very soon.
Intention without actions means nothing. So until there is willpower to move in and make the surroundings clean, the residents here and others like it will continue to live this way to the detriment of their lives.
Bauchi State boasts of over 60 varieties of solid minerals, including gold, tin and coal. The discovery of gold has not only excited the state government, but prospective international investors. This report takes a look at the solid mineral potentials in Bauchi State and what it means for the nation's economy.
Let me announce here and now that gold has been discovered in Toro local government.
Gadabiu in Toro local government area of Bauchi State is now home to gold and other solid minerals. Traces of gold was discovered in late 2017 and has been confirmed by laboratory tests abroad. With the honey comes the bees. Artisanal miners have swamped the area searching for a fortune in gold. Some of them have come all the way from Zamfara State. These local miners are using crude technology to achieve their goal. Thieving may seem a long and tedious process, but the miners are not worried because they believe they will strike gold eventually. Apart from challenges of illegal mining, state governments have to contend with legislation. Solid minerals exploration is on the exclusive legislative list. In simple words, it is only the federal government that can grant licenses for exploration.
We've done all the necessary things we needed to do, from seeking the consent of the host community to registering with the federal government and then placing our own application. Then our application has been approved and then the license has been awarded to us.
These are samples of various solid minerals abound in Bauchi. In spite of limitations, the state government is desirous of boosting the state economy and revenue in the sector, bearing in mind the necessary procedures.
Recently, we warehoused a consortium of investors that came from China mid last year, which is basically on mining, which in fact, as I said, we're about to convert some deals. That is good, some MOU on that particular day. And that investment alone is worth about $27.5 billion US.
We want to avoid the mistake of the past. We follow the due diligence, feasibility report, the normal field trip before you don't allow any other person to start mining anyhow, no.
With the federal government's plan of diversifying the economy, solid minerals may provide that if given the necessary attention. Solid minerals can serve as an alternative to oil, especially now that the international oil market is volatile and states like Bauchi may become a veritable source of non-oil revenue.
And now to the arts. Bubbles of Emotion is an exhibition by sculptor Adeola Balogun at the Omenka Gallery in Lagos. This artist uses metal and found objects to create works of art that talk about the political climate in Nigeria. And that's what we have on Art Review tonight.
Contemporary sculptor Adeola Balogun veers off from his signature style of using rubber and tires in Bubbles of Emotion, his second solo show at the Omenka Gallery. The 36 works of art are mainly done in steel, infusing some mechanical parts, and the way they're shaped reminds one of bubbles.
There are some works in that series which are actually, looking like bubbles, because of their form and their shape, right? If you're talking about emotion, you're talking about intense feeling of, it could be of hatred, it could be of joy, it could be of disappointment, And if you're looking at what we have around us, you discover that there are, more of the negative side being reflected in our society. Because if you look at what is going on in the social media, for instance, I discovered that, there are a lot of hate speeches flying here and there. And there's a need for us, for us to be the master of our emotion, because to a large extent, if we don't do that, that might actually have a negative consequence for us.
There are pieces like Bliss, where a couple can be seen almost in warm embrace, to this other one called An Attempt at Perpetuity, where a lone skeleton is with a pensive look on his face. For those who've watched him closely, Adeola keeps delving into new realms, and that's one thing that makes his works intriguing.
To Kogi State now, where a 55-year ban on 5 cultural festivals of the Igala people has been lifted by the state government. Now, according to the state government, the withdrawal of the ban on the festival is in line with a persistent plea from the paramount rulers of Igala Kingdom.
According to oral tradition, the people of Kogi East Senatorial District are said to have an enduring legacy of cultural festivals, which stands as their pride and identity. But along the line, in 1966, the cultural festivals was said to have been proscribed by the then government under controversial circumstances. As years rolled by, several governments have come and gone with unsuccessful attempts to revive the festivals. However, In line with the present administration's commitment to core values and ethics of tradition, the Kogi State government explains more on the lifting of ban on the festivals.
They serve as preservation of tradition and custom of the land and tourist attraction that will bring investors, thereby boosting the economy of the state. It is therefore the realization of this compelling need to reawaken some of the lofty traditional and cultural values that define us as a people.
The Kogi State government also hints at some reformatory steps aimed at fostering peace and unity among the people.
Government is further looking inward to undertake some reformatory steps in this direction, such that we'll explore our culture as a tool for peace and unity.
Lifting of the ban on the festival is a big reprieve for the people, as echoed by the paramount ruler who describes the ban as the greatest injustice meted to the Igala race.
People are so happy. People, thinking about how do you just send people to limbo like that? It's like independence, liberation. People feel free. People have a way of communicating with their fellow human beings, communicating with their brothers across the provinces, communicating with other people who are from other climes. So we are happy about it.
With the lifting of the ban of the festivals, the Igalas now have a golden opportunity to revive their cultural heritage towards creating better harmony between the different ethnic groups in the state, as well as boost the state's cultural development.
From Kogi, we move to Enugu State, where residents have found a way of keeping body and soul together. For them, the Michael Okpara Square is a melting pot for fitness and social cultural activities. Our correspondent Chris Alems visited that area and has this report.
Michael Okpara was a political leader and, of course, a premier of the Eastern region in Nigeria. He was a strong advocate of agriculture as a way of shoring up the economic base of the country. Today, a square named after him in Enugu has assumed a life of its own.
For people familiar with this turf, they claim it's the most healthy 1 mile boundary line in Enugu State.
And it's beautiful. The trees are all over the place. The air is very clean. The quality of the air is wonderful. So it just encourages very, Puritan, pristine physical exercise.
The race to fitness for some begins with a walk alone or in groups, accompanied by the vibrant Ogene sound of the Eastern region. For a few more, this is the place to catch up with old friends, mingle with new ones, and forge new alliances.
I've been in the game, I've been in sports all along. As you see me now, I look big. If not sports, only God knows what could have happened to me,
What happens at Michael Okpara Square is probably an example of how to appreciate nature's gifts, as creed, status, profession, or political divide pale into insignificance.
I would say fitness is like the third reason why I'm here. Look around, some people make ends meet here. Have the local food there, the opa, the abata, palm wine, local bush meat, call it anunchi, anombada, anyone you want is here.
James and his friends are from Oka, and they've traveled to be part of this movement, which has grown by leaps and bounds. They share their experience.
Enugu is peculiar because of the different groups of Ogene groups here. We have quite a number of them playing music, entertaining themselves, singing, chanting, stomping as they exercise, and it's so much fun. I haven't done this in a long time, but I see it as a way of boosting stamina. As you get older and based on the kind of sedentary lifestyle we live, this kind of thing will boost your performance in all kinds of areas, if you know what I mean. So, so I kind of need that stamina.
After a rigorous session, it's time to cool off with various fruits and local drinks alongside the local delicacy okpa. And the vendors are on ground to meet the demands.
But I'm telling you the truth.
So whether it's a race to fitness, friendship, or forge a new frontier, the people of Enugu State have pitched their tent here and are not hoping to let it go anytime soon. Chris Illems, Channels Television News.